prompts. I want you to get this down now for the people. Again, everybody put up their hand about who does not done free writes or prompt writing before. There's free writing or prompt writing. No? Good. Okay, there's enough people that would use this. Anybody mind that if we go through the process? Okay. So, what this does is there is a neurological function in the brain that happens. You know, the left brain is our engineer. It takes care of business, it keeps our heart beating, you know, and it tells us not to step out in the middle of the road when there's a truck coming, and, you know, it adds up our, you know, accounting for us. The right brain is the artist. The engineer, the artist. The right brain does not know about limits, it doesn't know about judgment, it doesn't know about time. It just flies. I know. And some people have a tendency more towards one side than the other. But when people say, what's the best skills or the best tools you can have? And I said, your own brain.
Just a question. Is that really true? Is
Yes.
it illogical?
Yeah. Yes.
It's not just a literal thing.
No, it is very literal. And I'm going to say something very cheeky now, is that there's a connection between the left and right hemisphere, and it's called the corpus callosum. So this is the real deal here. I used to teach anatomy and physiology, can you tell? And so the reason why men can be so incredibly laser focused, this is a biological theory, is because that connecting pad, imagine like a brake pad in between the two sides of the brain, in women is very, very tall. And so the two sides are very tightly connected. So we have to, because we're, you know, in the village, fighting off the tigers and having babies and, you know, inventing culture and agriculture. And then men are out in the savanna grass, laying there for 72 straight hours, waiting for the mastodon to come by so they can jump out and kill it and bring it back. That's it. So their corpus callosum is shorter this way so that the hemispheres are not connected as far because they can't be distracted. Does that sound familiar at all? There is some, logical fact to it. And so, I think the two most important people or skills or tools in your life is your own brain. Make peace and friends between your engineer and your artist. Bring them together. Your engineer is going to come in later when it's time to organize, to edit, to seek out feedback, to process, to see how things fit together. That's what the left brain does brilliantly. It's a little bit bossy in both of us because we're trying to stay alive. And get to work on time. So the right brain has to be mostly encouraged to come forward a little bit more than it normally does. Doing the prompts, prompt writing, helps that happen. And you're training your brain you say to your right brain, you know what? It's okay. We're not going to drop dead just because you appear for 10 minutes and help me free right here. And you're saying to the left brain, it's going to be all right if you go and have a coffee break. You can come straight back. We'll take care of everything here. It's all okay. So you can just hit the road for a few minutes and stop bugging us with that voice that says, this is stupid. This is no good. You can't write. What are you talking about? You know you should have. You know you should have. All that stuff, right? No one's going to want to read this. Oh my God, you made a spelling mistake. Scribble that out right now. Anybody ever had that? Yeah. That's the first thing. One second. That's the first thing, is to make peace between those two capacities. Because if you can get them working together, holy cow, you've got it going on. And those two very powerful forces and capacities in your own head, instead of fighting each other. Does that make sense? I know I'm making this dramatic, but I'm trying to illustrate that that's a good place to start. Where do I start? Start training your brain to work together, so that the left side of the brain is very effective and doesn't feel threatened by being asked to hit the road for a few minutes, and the right brain is encouraged to come forward. That's where the barf track will help you come from. How it comes? Yeah. So ready? This is how you do it. And normally I would never use the word rules, guidelines. I am an Aquarian, for heaven's sakes, so I have to use the word guidelines. rules. This is one of his rules. Because there's a certain pattern and certain aspects have to be in place for this to actually literally work well. Okay? Anybody had the experience of writing and all of a sudden it's like, what? An hour went by. Where was I? I was like in another world. Guess where you were? You called it, baby. Okay, so here's how you do prompts, what's also called free writes. With emphasis on the word free. But here are the rules. Number one, for now, handwrite. There is a different brain process that does this than does this. Okay. Handwrite. 2, timer. Nothing that ticks. If you can hear the ticking, your left brain's going, I wonder how much time has gone by. I bet you it's 3 minutes. I bet you I don't have hardly any time left. I'm going to look at that time to see how much time I've got left. No ticking. Nothing that you have to glance at, like a little, sand clock, whatever you call those things. You know those things. Hourglass. A silent timer that you can set. And you start off with no more at the very beginning than say 3 to 4 minutes. You can work up from there. You're not going to, get off the couch where you've been laying there for 6 years eating ding-dongs and go and run a Boston Marathon, you know what I'm saying? You have to work up to it. 3 to 4 minutes on the timer. The next thing is you use prompt. As she mentioned, prompt. And the prompt is something that gets you going, because we don't want to think. This is not about thinking. This is about impulse, right? Raw creativity. All the raw stuff that can come up. There's a lot of junk in there too. But there's going to be some amazing stuff in there. Okay, so the prompt would be either, just a second. Did I bring them with me? Oh, no, I don't think. You can go online and just Google writing prompts, and you'll get a billion of them. You can either do one that's just sort of generalized, just to get you going. It's kind of like doing warm-up stretches before you go on a run. Or if you're working on a piece, take the last line of the end of what you were working on and put it at the top of the page. So here's your piece of lined paper, and you write it here. If you're working on something and you want to keep going, okay? So you write it here, put that last line, and that's what you will start with, okay? Or it could be a topic. For instance, it's like, my dad's favorite Sunday afternoon activity was, ... If you want to write about your dad, you want to generate some stuff about your dad. Memories come up that you can't, you can't consciously bring up on command. Stuff can come up whether you like it or not. That I will tell you. So you have your prompt at the top of the page. Top of the page. Everybody with me so far? Yeah. Okay. Eyes down. You cannot take your eyes off the page. The second your eyes come up, you're processing like crazy. Super distracted. Everything. You're looking at everything. We can't help it. That's what we do. Eyes down. Okay. And this is often quite challenging for people, is no corrections. None. No scratch out, no do-overs, no rewrite, nothing. No edit. Right? And the last thing is keep pen moving. So how that happens is the second you stop moving the pen, literally, the second this stops, you're straight back into your left brain. And I use this euphemistically, it's not that cut and dry. But the second your eyes come up, the second this, the second you scratch something out. Okay? So this keeps you or helps to keep you more into your creative mind. Everybody got that? Okay.
Reread? Oh, we don't read, we just keep going.
Keep going.
Because I have that habit, I just go.
Yes, of course you do. And that's the editing part. And that's your left brain going to do that for you later. It's going to have its turn.
Don't just like write it and put my hand and keep writing.
If you need to have a piece of paper over top and keep moving it down for the first few times, yeah, do that. Everybody caught that? Just stop yourself from rereading. Just keep folding it like this and just go like this. It's a little distracting, but it's better than going back and reading. Just do it for 2 or 3 times, then you'll get used to it and you won't do it anymore. Yeah, it is cool. And so when that bell rings, that timer rings, you just stop. Even if you're in the middle of a sentence, how weird is that? You know why? Because what you're doing is you're saying to the right brain, this is all I asked of you, is 3 minutes, and so here's the deal I made, and I'm keeping the deal. And you're saying to your left brain, you know what, I told you you had to just hit the road for 3 minutes, and I'm keeping my deal. So that both sides of your brain say, oh, wow, okay, I'm good. And so I know it sounds weird, but it's kind of like you build up a sense of trust and comfort in your own psyche. Weird but true. So once you get the habit of it, you slowly increase the time, and then no editing happens until after you finished your treatment. Let's do it right now. Ready? Anybody need a little help? So here's what happens. Let's say nothing's coming out of you, and you just, no, I don't know what to say. Do you know what you do? Nonsense words like blah, 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 literally, blah, blah, or that one is insane. This is the stupidest, weirdest thing I've ever seen in my whole life. I can't believe it. And then that day when the sun goes, see what's happening? It'll slide back in again. You just have to keep it moving. Hand moving, blah, 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 or say whatever you want. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. My mind is blank. Oh, this is weird. This is crazy. This feels creepy. I can't believe it. Oh my God. And then the sun rose the next morning and blah, blah, blah. And away you go. It's really interesting.